And we're good.
Thank you, Michael. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
We are wanting more time on your Article 43, 44 proposal. We had a lot of conversation yesterday afternoon after we concluded, and would like to put together a counter proposal. We worked on gathering some data yesterday afternoon and this morning, and just need more time to have a thorough response. So I wondered if we could perhaps pass additional proposals and then caucus.
Sure.
Do you have additional proposals to pass this morning?
I do.
Okay.
Do you have?
We are ready to do our appendix B.
Yes,
Does
okay.
that work?
Yep.
So they're not. This is
And that's the other.
a lot of copies.
Yeah. that's right.
You know. Yep.
So is this one song? It's like that.
No, there's multiple in there. I should have. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go over yours first?
Article 20, we went in and tried to be more specific about kind of what we felt like would cover a large group of the meetings that we would like included on the list. So we updated it to include growth plans, improvement plans, and then anytime the supervisory administrator or an outside agency conducts an interview for an investigation or a complaint on site. And then Article 9, we added language under the definition to include that agreements can be filed by an NEHP officer on behalf of the association, and then remove the couple of sentences that refer to it having to be filed only by that professional employee in the same paragraph.
Okay, any questions from our team?
No, I think these are straightforward.
No questions.
Okay.
We passed appendix B, and the change is at the very end, where the evaluation feedback form for the use of adapted PE, occupational therapy, and physical therapy special education providers was included in the agreement. It's the only specialty evaluation that is in the agreement for some reason. We know obviously that just the standard Danielson classroom teacher, has traditionally been included, but really didn't feel like it was necessary for this one to be included.
So is the intention then that all bargaining unit staff would be evaluated on this framework that's at the beginning?
No, we have specialty evaluation forms for multiple staff groups that are not part of this agreement. So the fact that this one is in the agreement is unusual. Mhm.
Do we know what those other groups are? Just curious.
Social workers, counselors, instructional coaches. Off the top of my head.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay.
I am thinking 10 o'clock, probably at the earliest,
That's fine.
but we can touch base again.
Yep.
Sound good?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. We hear that Article 20 is one of particular importance for the bargaining unit. So attempted to add some language that would expand some opportunity for representation. If a professional employee is placed on an improvement plan, they may bring any bargaining unit representative of their choice to the initial meeting when the improvement plan is issued to the professional employee, and to the final meeting when the outcome of the improvement plan is reviewed with the professional employee. The 5-day written notice does not apply to the initial and final improvement plan meetings. And the professional employee chooses, if the professional employee chooses to have a representative at the meeting, the professional employee will notify the supervising administrator who their representative will be at least 24 hours prior to the.
Any questions?
So I think just to provide more clarity, typically with an improvement plan, there would be also monthly meetings that occur between the professional employee and the administrator that's implementing the improvement plan. So that would be a challenge to be present at each monthly meeting, but it would allow for the initial meeting when they go over all of the expectations in the improvement plan, the reasoning for the improvement plan, the outlined areas in the Danielson that need to be addressed. And then also it would include that final meeting when they say, these are the areas where we saw growth, these are the areas where we did not, this is the recommendation moving forward. Okay,
Yep. You have a copy of that we can give to you,
I'm sorry.
a copy of this one.
Here,
the
yeah.
one more copy.
Oh, are you missing one?
What about the part where we had added on our second part this morning? When there's an investigation, why is it that you feel that representation is not something we should have there?
Because investigation isn't disciplinary in nature. At that point, it is not.
Okay.
You may be a witness that's being asked what you saw and not really involved in it at all. Beyond.
True.
Just have a clarifying question about the 5-day written notice in the new language. The first 5-day written notice in the article is about the time after the administrators notified the bargaining unit. There we go. Is that the 5-day notice that is referenced in the new language as well? That 5-day written notice will not.
Meaning that there would not have to be 5 days notice to conduct an improvement plan meeting. That is the intent of the language that we proposed.
So just to make sure I'm hearing this right, that the 5-day written notice would not apply to the initial meeting, so that initial meeting could happen sooner than 5 days or later than 5 days?
There does not need to be a 5-day notice in order for an administrator to have the initial or final improvement plan meeting with an employee who would like to have a representative present.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? Okay. We don't have any other questions?
Do you have a response on any of our proposals that are on the table?
Yeah.
I have some questions about the appendix B on these evaluation forms that we want to take out of the negotiated agreement. On the list of people, I actually have a couple questions. On the list of people that you said that are evaluated on forms that are not featured in this negotiated agreement, you said social workers, counselors, instructional coaches. Is there anybody else that we can add to that list that you know? You just gave that off the top of your head. So.
And I left my laptop.
No worries, no worries.
But that's something that we can get you.
Okay, yeah, because we'd like to know that list. And then I'm just curious, like, have members of this bargaining unit been dismissed based on evaluations not featured in this negotiated agreement? So have people been fired based on evaluations that were not featured in this negotiated agreement?
Not based upon evaluation. I mean, that would take. I think further looking into, we have a list of. Yeah. Again, that is data that we could look into. We have a list of staff that. Ms. Wallace has been in charge of leading that since like 2017, so we would have a list of all staff that had been.
On anything but.
So then I'm assuming then people have been put on improvement plans based on feedback on these evaluations that are not featured in the negotiated agreement.
The Danielson is in the negotiated agreement.
Right, but we're talking about the social workers, the counselors, the instructional coaches, the ones that you said you evaluate based on evaluations that are not featured in this agreement.
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but we're happy to look at the data going back to 2017 and share that.
Thank you.
Can I ask about your adaptive PE people? Why doesn't the Danielson model work for them?
All of these rubrics are based on the Danielson model. It is just personalized to the position. So they are all based on and reflect the language of Danielson. It is just that not every position is directed to students.
But the adaptive PE should be 90% of their day, I would think, right?
Correct. I was speaking in general to
Okay.
the ones that aren't in there. They're all based on and at least I can speak for the coaches one. It was reviewed by KNEA before we added it. We had an entire year developing it and we brought it for approval. It just was not placed in the agreement.
Do you know when that was? What year?
I can find that out for you.
That'd be great.
Is there somewhere to access those evaluations, like what those rubrics look like?
Please have access to them in their talent ed perform. They all have historicals.
Right, but if I wanted to go look at the instructional coach rubric, is there somewhere to see that?
Just a second.
Previously, it was on the staff site where you can find forms and documents. So that's where I'm looking.
Okay, thank you.
Article 18, paragraph 1 also refers to the evaluation procedure and the availability of those forms to who they're available to and when.
Any other questions? I think, we'll have to get some answers to the questions, and if we could see them, I think, and look at them. All of the forms that aren't included in the agreement, then I think we would feel better about providing a response to that.
That's fair. I think it just seems like, why is that group in and the others are not? On the staff side.
Are they accessible?
Yep.
Like you can click them and they open?
I don't know if we said media specialists, but they're also.
Oh,
Is
here,
that-
you can get
it
the
says-
full list there for that.
Sorry.
We tried, I was gonna say, we tried to open them and we were,
Tried to
the files can't be found.
Good to know. Was not aware that you could help them.
On every single.
So yeah, so if you fix the links, just let us know that, or
And then
if
we
you just want to send us the things. Yeah, so once we have those to look at and stuff, I think we can then regroup and come back with a response.
Okay, and any update on our Article 31 proposal?
No, not yet. That is the one that I am waiting on the ability to contact the rest of the bargaining unit in order to survey them and discuss first.
And we have a response on your article.
We sat and talked about Article 9, and currently we really value the employees' feelings and their need to file grievances. And so to allow KNEA to file those grievances on behalf of a bargaining unit, we feel that that removes some of the rights of the individual employee. As we really like to have that open communication with the personal employee who has the issue. At this time, I think we are not comfortable with moving forward with that language.
Can you explain, I don't understand what you mean, how that takes rights away from someone to have their contract enforced for them. Can you explain that?
There are some employees who may not choose to file a grievance, or if there's a small issue, it may not be something that they want to do. And it kind of removes that personal relationship with first the principal and the employee to discuss that prior by moving it directly into having KNEA represent the whole bargaining unit under that.
Can you provide any specific examples where the current language hasn't been sufficient?
Yeah, I could give you a bunch, but because those people didn't feel comfortable filing the grievance publicly, I'm not now going to, on a video recording, call those situations out. But yes, several. Just within the last 2 months, I can come up with 3 or 4.
There are people that have, found it or not, real fear of retaliation and real fear of. We know the language exists, that can't happen, but there is still that fear. If I speak up and file that grievance and have something formally documented against my administration or the district, that there will be consequences for me later. And that's when we have people come to us, that's the most often reason people aren't willing to file, because they're worried of consequences down the road.
Additionally, I think it's Martin Luther King who said that an infringement to one of our rights is an infringement to all of our rights. So if we are representing all of the individuals in our bargaining unit and all of the individuals in our bargaining unit are affected by something in their contract not being up to par or instituted as it should, then every single member of our bargaining unit is affected by that, not just that one person who felt too scared to file.
Anything else? Okay.
Do you have any other proposals that you're wanting to pass during this 3-day session, Brenda?
I mean, we can go on to any of our proposals. Like, we're prepared to do that. If you guys are prepared to move into hours and amounts of work and compensation and health insurance and things like that. I don't know if it makes sense to do a caucus first, so you guys can pull some of that information, and then maybe we can clear some of this stuff off the table, or what, or if we just wanna move on, like, what do we wanna do?
Um,
Just thinking about what's gonna be the most productive for us for the rest of today, for tomorrow, we'll still have in this session. I think the more the information that we could at least share and be able to caucus about will be better. But then also it seems like we may be at a standstill on a few items. Do you want to give an update on the content? Because that's holding up one of the items. There's some that we just, you're not prepared to give an answer on yet. There's one that we're still working on.
why don't we caucus? That also gives you an opportunity if you're wanting to make a counter on any of the ones that we just discussed as well. And we will continue to work on 43.
Do we wanna caucus and then roll that into lunch
So,
at noon?
Yep.
So 1 o'clock? Before that, 1 o'clock?
I think so.
Okay. Thank you. Hi. Welcome. Thank you. You good?
So I have some of that information, you asked for, of the support staff. That are on a separate rubric. We have not, non-renewed or even probationarily renewed, any of those staff. Yep, since my, those are where my records start. And then we piloted the coaching rubric, which I am 99% sure is the first support staff rubric that we used, in 2011, 2012. And it did come to, the negotiations.
They came to the table.
It came to the table.
Okay, good. I can pull the records. Thank you. Were you able to get those links updated or?
I sent the email.
Okay.
Have them.
We're just waiting. Okay, that's fine.
I know you covered non-renewed and then probationary renewal. What about improvement plans or growth plans based on those? It's like people that were put on growth or improvement plans based on those evals.
Yes, there were, of those support staff who were on improvement plans. But none of those resulted in any kind of,
More than that, gotcha.
they were all renewed.
Okay, thank you.
We have a response to your 43, 44 in the counter.
Okay,
Okay. We've spent a lot of time looking at the proposal that you passed for 43, 44. We do not feel comfortable moving to PTO. I'm concerned that staff we want staff to accumulate leave and not use it as vacation leave for the purpose of. If, as you're able to accumulate sick leave over the years, it really kind of turns into your own insurance policy. If you're needing to have maternity leave, if you have an illness, if you need a hip replaced, a hysterectomy, whatever it may be, you're able to then accumulate that leave and use it in those situations. And there is definitely hesitancy that if we turn it to PTO, that people will use more and more at that time. And we want people to be able to accumulate and then make an importance on accumulating. We pulled data and 345 bargaining unit members used 80 or more leave hours last school year. That's 27% of the current active employees in Munis.
That's employees or bargaining unit professional employees.
There you go.
Okay,
You said 80 or more hours.
Correct.
In those hours, do you have what they were listed as in the, request process?
That would have been sick. Not,
Personal or professional?
correct. Not release, not legal. Yeah, we did all of that out.
Thank you.
So that led to lots of discussion and a counter proposal that Mr. Isnard is going to share.
Okay, so we recognize the association's intent in trying to provide some flexibility and time for professional employees to be able to deal with unplanned things that come up. And we would like to engage in further discussion to establish what a longer term version of that would look like. What you are being handed this afternoon is what we would propose for the 26-27 school year. That is a change to the previous sick leave rebate provision in Article 43. Changing that to a sick leave conversion. The main point of this for qualifying employees would be that you, if you meet the following criteria, so return to work the following school year, have completed at least 2 years of employment with USD 501 and have accumulated at least 12 days of sick leave total. Again, hoping that we're maintaining a balance of sick leave for those unexpected things that can come up. And used 4 or fewer sick or unpaid days during the employment year. So again, not penalizing anyone for the use of those personal days, but sick or unpaid is a criteria. Then those employees meeting the criteria outlined above will have 2 sick leave days converted to additional personal days to be utilized during the 27-28 school year. Allowing up to, you would start the year with 4 total that would be used at your discretion within the guidelines we have for personal days already. This provision we've added, it would sunset after the 26-27 school year, assuming that we will use the monthly meetings that we have with the association and morale committee to continue to evaluate the effectiveness, have more discussions about attendance for the bargaining unit in general, and hopefully in the next year's negotiations have a plan for what would continue after this. We had exhaustive discussion about this, and we want to present something that is going to give the added flexibility, but there are a lot of potential unintended consequences that when you are trying to put together something this large of a plan this quickly, we just don't want to miss something that could have a large unintended budget consequence or coverage issues at buildings, especially as we are implementing just some other initiatives for the district right now that we're a little nervous about moving too quickly with it without really thoroughly vetting this, having lots of discussion about it. So we would make that commitment to you that we would continue discussion about this, hoping that we can have something that continues beyond the next school year. So with that, any questions about what we have?
Can the 4 days be consecutive after they have been earned? 4 days of personal?
There's no clause saying that they cannot be.
And just to clarify, for those that aren't looking at this, that would eliminate the current policy of being able to sell back pays.
We did replace it, and before we did that, we checked into the utilization of that. And for this last school year, 5 total employees utilized that clause. So the effect on those who are used to using it would be minimal, and we hope provide the flexibility in exchange would be accepted.
Thank you. I just want to clarify that this says the 4 personal days for the 27-28 school year, so they couldn't keep them after next year, right? If they didn't use all 4, they would just turn back into sick leave.
If not used, that we had discussed that.
You lose personal at the end of each year,
Right,
so these would also.
these would just become sick again, okay.
Correct.
Nothing lost really out of that.
Right, yeah, no hours, just you wouldn't have potentially 3 days the next year or whatever.
And that's if we don't have a replacement for the.
I had a question on the 345 unit members.
Yes.
How many of them might have been taking a maternity leave, a disability, or medical leave that required them to be gone?
I would have to go back and look into that.
But just half of them, or do you see that these 345 people were abusing their 80 hours? In your opinion? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? I'm just trying to figure out how many of them are abusing it, or how many of them had to use it, and it was because they had it, they could use it.
We can get exact numbers. I would say because I signed the FMLA forms that over this past calendar year, I signed less than 100. And that was across the spectrum of certified, classified, and administrative. So,
Can you look and just ask how
Absolutely.
many certified?
yeah,
I think for the purposes of this data, we were careful not to look at it through the lens of we're assuming anyone's abusing anything. We assume that there's reasons for any leave that any employee would need to take. So for us, we're looking at what we need to cover as far as sub coverage, or what we're asking other teachers to do covering for each other. We have to look at kind of the aggregate of all absences that may need to be covered, so
And loss of instructional time.
yes.
Can you talk to me about why we subbed out number 4 for your new number 3? So we went from 5 or fewer days to 4. Was there a rationale behind lowering that number?
One difference is number 4 did include personal leave used in that. So in an effort to not penalize anyone, since we're giving extra personal days, we took that word out. But knowing that it would just be sick leave used then, we reduced it.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's also, an incentive or something for the staff that does have great attendance and are showing up and are present, something for them to be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that it is definitely leaning into the rewarding those that are there. I have some concerns that we might inadvertently be sending the message that people who have chronic health problems or just happen to have a child this year, or I don't know, got a communicable disease this year. I don't know what or broke a leg, or I don't know what that looks like. That we might accidentally be telling them that we're not rewarding. Does that make sense? So I want to make sure that how we that it frames out in the right way for everyone so that people understand like where it's coming from and what we're really trying to offer.
And I think that came up in some of our conversation as well, because we realized those things happen, things happen for our side too. But we thought of how many instances where that will really be the case, because that person who's needing that leave for health related reasons probably already using the sick time and really wouldn't be worried about necessarily banking it for personal leave in that instant. So
I mean,
we didn't
unless
feel like it was penalized.
they've worked here for 15 years and have a lot of it and just had a bad year, right? Or I don't know, their spouse suddenly couldn't take the lead for the kid, it was your turn, I guess, I don't know, that's a thing I am told happens, I don't have children, but, so yeah, I mean, I understand that, I just wanna make sure that we think of all of those so that we are prepared on our side to answer those, I mean, we need to be able to justify anything that we TA at the end of the day, so we just wanna make sure we understand. Would there be any interest potentially in doing this similar to the way that we did the extra duty and getting a committee together to evaluate kind of how this changes things and maybe what other options would be available to them? Would there be any interest in doing that?
We had discussed the possibility of putting a committee together. Some of the thought is that we already have some avenues for this communication to be happening, or could this intentionally be put on the agenda for the meetings that are already occurring, so that we're not having another meeting or a time to manage. I think that that's something that we're still willing to consider.
I think I would envision it more as instead of an ongoing committee like the extra duty one, at least, at the very least, having, once we've gone through the morale committee and the health insurance committee and talked to people and generated those ideas, that then there's at least a final time to come together and brainstorm what that looks like and point out what may be good or what maybe we see as problems or issues still and things that we still need to find out before we end up at the table again. And then we're asking questions and you guys don't have the answer. You're like, well, we're not sure how that works. And we're like, we don't know either.
Right.
So it just gives us a chance to kind of collect all of that information, at least in touch base. So just something to think about. I mean, I don't expect you to answer me right now.
And we had met three
No, I
times
got the
for
same
that
house.
extra duty. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The timeliness of the data when we would have things to discuss is also something we talked about. I mean, it's because it's going to be a while into the school year before we would have any trend data to really talk about. So we just didn't want to be premature and put language in here immediately that said we're going to meet monthly when that may not really be necessary.
I mean, maybe you'll surprise me again and I'll show up to the meeting and we'll be done in 3 meetings. Billy has a whole stable ticket for me. It's ready to go. So yeah, just something to think about. I think we would be interested in being at least being a part of that conversation so that we can help problem solve and potentially provide any ideas that are out there in other districts, maybe that we right now at the table aren't even aware of. Because I'm sure we're not the first district that's had issues with people taking a lot of leave and needing subs, and how can we benefit people but also not, cause more problems for ourselves and stress and stretch our employees even more.
And we would like for the conversation about this to be collaborative, not only about sick leave conversion piece, but really about the larger attendance of staff in general and ideas, things that we could do that would help with that. Because as we're looking at chronic absenteeism rates for students, and then we have the number of days that our teachers may be out too, we're seeing how that affects test scores, student achievement, other things that we need to address. So we appreciate the association's willingness to be involved in that discussion, look at solutions from both sides.
Yep. Any other questions, you guys? Cool, thank you. We will need to touch base again about the appendix B, now that we have some of those answers back.
We were curious if you would be interested in passing your duty day proposal during this June session versus waiting until our July sessions, knowing that that's probably something that is going to need greater time and consideration.
Yeah, can we have like 2 minutes to step in the corner real quick, and then I think we can do that?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
I know, I was like, oh. 3:45.
I like this much more than having to go outside. It's just once.
Right, yeah.
Except today, it's actually
Yeah,
nice out.
I know, I was like, usually it's hot.
So I don't have anything printed off, but we are happy to share that our idea was we would like to look at doing basically the inverse of what's happening right now. So currently I don't even want to give a number of years, I'm sorry, because I will throw a number out and I'll be wrong. We've done this idea where we get to use the inclement weather days at the end of, so we get the time back. We've already scheduled it, and we would like to evaluate going to 186 days on the calendar with the potential for needing to add days if we should then go over our allotted inclement weather days, because we feel like from our math that we aren't going over a number that would require us to do that very often in recent history. And so we would like to clear up the confusion and just do the inverse of that instead of doing it the way we're doing it now. Does that make sense? So like right now, we're scheduling 2 end dates
Correct.
and then canceling 4 days, and we would like to just do 186 with the understanding that we have days built into the calendar that potentially you would have to come to school if I suddenly have to take 5 or 6 days off school in January. Because that happened to us one time.
Right.
So, and then, yeah, we might have to add a day here or there, or we might have to have this day in April that's a day, a personal day, come back into work that day, or however that would work, whatever those days are, however that works out. But we would like to look at doing it that way instead of continuing to schedule 190 and then just getting off 4 days early.
Would you be willing to send? So you're talking about just adjusting the way the calendar is built, or you're proposing to change the language in the agreement, saying it could be 186, but up to 190?
Well, my understanding would be that you wouldn't. I don't think it would be phrased that way, I guess. Our understanding would be that that it would be 186 days with the understanding that if you go over your inclement weather days with the state, you're required by law to make that time up, right? That's our understanding.
There is a minimum number of hours that.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think we thought that we needed to include that caveat because that's a state I mean, we can't not do what the state says. So because my understanding is if we go over our days, part of the reason you have to come in and make it up is because that's not actually a duty day for me. I wasn't paid that day. I'm being paid on the day I have to make it up.
Right.
Once I reach a certain number. So for us, it was just really going from 190 to 186, but I think that requires an education campaign with people. Like speaking from a person who attended a district that did this model, like we all just knew that, right? Like the parents knew that, the students knew that, the staff knew that if we go over X amount of days, these are the days on the calendar that potentially become a school day because we now have to make up a day or two here or there because we took too many days off. And in, I mean, my, 12 years of schooling, like I think we did it once.
Okay, so the proposal would be to move to 186 duty days.
Correct.
Questions? On that?
No, I appreciate you being willing to share that early because that is something that will take some time to work through the calendar because it's gonna affect other employee groups, not just the association members. Thank you for the time to look at that program.
EJ, I got a number back for you already.
Thank you. I have to find out where I put it.
Nope, that's okay. And I must have signed more than I thought. It was 128 certified leaves. Which then still leaves 217 that were not on any kind of leave. That still use the 80
And those are certified.
certified.
Do you know, probably not in that number, but do you know how many of them have sick leaves that are like donated to them? Or how many of them like use sick days that were donated to them? It's kind of interesting.
On 80s, if they share 10 for the school year, they wouldn't need it, right?
Well, but if they're on like things like a severe illness or like, I don't know, I'm curious.
80.
Yeah,
Or over their 10.
yeah,
Sorry.
How many participated in sick leave share?
yeah.
We're gonna need a few minutes to get that information.
No worries at all, thank you.
It's being worked on right now.
And it does seem weird, and I know it's just the way the process is, that I know somebody who did use sick leave sharing. And they're in the building working that day, I'm like. I don't know why you're here, but it's because they've gone over their hours or whatever, and I was like. You know, but you're in the building today, you're not sick.
Yeah, in that case, it's probably an intermittent FMLA leave or they have certain.
Potentially, I know this person's was using medical, so you.
Brenda, what would you like to do next? Do you feel like if we had a brief caucus today that we could hear back on B? Appendix B? I mean, I'm just looking at it being one.
No, yeah. I would err on the side of caution and say no. Probably not.
We would really like to see those other rubrics before making a decision.
Part of it is. Like what we've experienced today, it wasn't available online. We should be able to have a hard copy if a member asks us their evaluation.
Sure.
And we can't help them.
Have a reliable place to access it.
Right. So we think it's something that,
I mean, in total transparency, I think for us, we really just want to evaluate them against. The Danielson framework that exists in the contract, just to make sure that we. Like we talked about last year when we eliminated the form, we don't want to accidentally eliminate something that then potentially causes a problem for us later down the road. So we just want to make sure that we do our due diligence in comparing that language.
And in all honesty, we should probably be looking at them. We updated that language last year to see if there are minor tweaks and changes that should be made to better align them with the rubric and language changes we made last year. I mean, it was minor, but
Still.
there probably could be minor adjustments.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just, I mean, just to err on the side of caution, I would say probably not. We probably wouldn't have an answer in an hour-ish,
Okay.
because I'm gonna assume we're planning on wrapping up somewhere around 3, which is an hour and a half away. So that would give me like an hour to meet, and I don't think we'd have an answer by then. So. The other thing I did want to ask about your 20 counter that you did.
Yes.
There's just, we just want to make sure we clear up the confusion. So our understanding is that in the evaluation process, they would do the evaluation, they would have the feedback meeting within 5 days or whatever. And then they would have the meeting to go over the written improvement plan. That those are separate meetings. I mean, that's the way it's out. It doesn't necessarily say that, but they're 2 separate boxes on the flow thing. So I just want to make sure.
I do think that there would be times when they would lump that all into one meeting.
Okay, so I guess there was just a concern that potentially what would happen is somebody might get a call in the morning to, hey, can we schedule your thing? And they're like, yeah, we can just go ahead and meet and do my reflection today, after school when you're done with it or whatever. And then potentially they want to do the written improvement plan then, and that doesn't afford them the ability to reach out to someone to come to that, because I think that's the meeting, we're talking about initial meeting, that we were gonna have them attending. So I think there was just some concern that we aren't really sure how potentially we're interfering with their ability to reach out to someone and get somebody to come with them if they aren't provided any sort of notice. But we also understand that like there's a timeline involved in writing those, so I know sometimes we're pushing up to a deadline.
Correct. When one of our drafts for that, as we were looking at it, we had the word scheduled. You know, so then it wouldn't be impromptu. They may not have 5 days notice, but it would be scheduled in advance. And if they have 24, if they need to notify 24 hours in advance, then I'm thinking the principal's got to schedule it 24 hours in advance.
You'd think so, but this year I had somebody do it within 24 hours. Yeah, I think it probably is one of those things that wouldn't happen very often, but it is a thing that we just want to make sure that, you know, we have time to get someone, not every building rep is comfortable attending an improvement plan meeting. So we just don't want to get into a situation where I have a brand new building rep that's worked for us for 4 years. And suddenly they're being forced to go into an improvement plan meeting because we didn't get enough notice to get them a rep that has done those things or has more longevity with us or is more comfortable doing that. So yeah, so I mean, where did you have the schedule, was it just the initial, with the initial meeting?
Scheduled initial meeting. So, I mean, we could put scheduled in front of initial and final. Would you like to provide a counter?
Yeah, we could definitely have a response and or counter tomorrow morning for you.
Okay.
Danica, I got the number back.
Amazing.
27 used sick leave sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Discussion. Okay, we'll be right back.
Leaders.
Don't forget that. They have done before. I love that. Oh, nice. It does, it also. I know the moment the president says it, I support it. And that's, there was, for us, there was a hands on video. One of the hospitals, so just all the police can't do with that. And saying in the back of the class, it's like, sure, yeah. Well, I put it out there. I'm not.
Okay, since we're kind of moving along, we're going to go ahead and share our Article 36
Okay.
proposal.
Your statement.
Thank you.
Dawn and Lucy.
Okay, Article 36, our proposal includes the language cleanup items, but adding a head and assistant e-sport coach. This is a newly sanctioned Keisha activity, and so we feel like this is the appropriate placement for those two coaches and something that we plan to implement moving forward.
Are those, oh, I see it, it's high school.
And if you will turn to page 3. Brenda, this should have been included in our language cleanup document.
Yeah, I remember we
But-
talked about it.
Yes, and so the Cap City coordinator was something that had been eliminated when we did the huge cleanup last year, but it is needed, so we would like to add it back in.
Can you just, I just wanna, because I have been in meetings with you and Dustin Dick before, so I have a little bit of an understanding of how these percentages are developed, kind of where his mind goes and how he does that. Can you kind of explain that to people who maybe weren't in the room in a paragraph or so about how you came to these being the percents instead of why is it 5% to start instead of 7.5%? I mean, like, or 3.5%, like, how do we come to those numbers?
I think that he looks at the number of events, competitions, activities that they will be participating in when those occur. Some are on weekends and evenings, some are occurring during the day. So I think he just looks at the amount of time that he anticipates that staff will be spending beyond the duty day and aligns it with where he feels like it's comparable. Is that fair?
Yeah, do you know, just because I don't know anything about esports? I mean, really at all, is it like a one and done situation? Is it, like, there's not like a fall and a winter version, right? Like, there's not two of them?
I believe it's ongoing.
Okay,
I can get more information for you on that.
Is this because they want to start esports teams, or I'm assuming we've had them already and people are doing them, they're just doing them with no agenda?
We had it as a club
Okay.
this year, but once it became Acacia sanctioned event, felt like it needed to be part of the agreement.
Which
And
is newer, I mean, it just happened.
Correct.
Yeah.
right, this past year. So if you're looking like at having like those positions like full up, you're talking about 6 people total to like a head and an assistant at each high school.
Yes.
Okay.
Was there talk about girls flag football? Cause that also just became a sanctioned Acacia event.
Yes, and that's why our notice letter was a little vague, because we knew that that was on the horizon. And at this time, the district isn't in the position to move forward with implementing it, but that will probably be one that we'll be bringing back to the table in the future. Good question. The other part of that is that not all of the schools in our league are going to be implementing for next year either. So that's something else to consider, is who would our students play against.
Do they have a chance at clubs at any of our high schools to do that? But
Like if they were interested in it or
If
something.
they were
did they-
interested, clubs are generated through interest by students and bringing it to your student government, to the administration.
Cause I'm wondering how many would be interested if you got the esports through understanding that you had it from a club that it was popular enough.
I have a follow-up question, sorry. Of the, of the clubs that you know that exist for esports, would you have like a rough estimate of how many kids are in those clubs? Because I know, like, for example, I'm an assistant coach for forensics and debate, and sometimes we have years where it's 20 kids, and sometimes we have years where it's 60. And so we can get another assistant, and so I'm just thinking about the finances of like, if HP had a huge esports, they would have X number of assistants, that's gonna change the number from 6 people to potentially more, that's gonna change the cost. So I'm just thinking about numbers, like, do we know anything about how many kids are in this?
And that is true, and Mr. Dick is the one that sets the coaching allocations and the ratios, and so if we needed to look at adding assistants, that would be up to him and that allocation and ratio that's set for each sport.
But do we know how big esports is already? Or,
We can check on those numbers, but, you know, I anticipate, because it's now a sanctioned sport, it's going to grow.
oh yeah, but I'm just saying like, growth from like 15 to 100, yeah, that's a lot, but from 100 to 300, that's very different, and so I'm just
It's
thinking.
not 100.
Yeah, okay. Esports, you never know though, you know, so, okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll track that down for you.
Any other questions? So I just, in the article, but off topic. We requested the addenda list this year, and I've been spending some time looking at that. And I just want to clarify on it's page 4. Under that first district co-curricular experience 0 to 5+, the very last item, the special responsibility assignment, and then it has a caret to number 3, which says that the assignments which may arise and merit payment but are not listed in the contract, special responsibility assignments are intended to be temporary. So I'm noticing that we have assigned a bunch of those, and of the people that I know that those are assigned to, the time length that they're receiving them doesn't, to me, fit my definition of the word temporary. So I just didn't know if there would be, I don't want to say interest, if there could be a movement to evaluate what those are for and potentially create a formal position that doesn't just fall under this kind of blanket special responsibility, because now we've done it for so many years in a row. We can formalize that as an actual addenda title of its own. Like, I know this building, almost every staff member in this building receives 2 of them. 1 or 2 of them, but I don't know what those are for, and those have happened for multiple years, and I don't know if we need to look at, can we formalize that into like an actual addenda? Because it is clearly recurring. But I don't know what all of those are, because there's people outside of this building that have those too, and I don't know what those are all for.
So Billy gave her a copy.
Imagine somebody's building up from the advisory boards. CT advisory boards, I can guess is at least one. Correct.
And I do want to clarify, like, we aren't questioning, just to be clear for everyone watching too, we aren't questioning the need for them to have them. Like, we absolutely agree that, especially, I mean, we're talking about CTE teachers specifically in this case, like, yes, they do above and beyond, and there's lots of things happening in this building that are happening outside of typical duty hours and things, and they should receive compensation for that. We're just interested in not relying on this temporary title for so long and starting to formalize what that looks like for them. And potentially the other ones across the district, maybe that have been happening, but I don't know what all of those are for, so it would require some information from your side about what really are we doing that for, and what could we potentially call that?
Yeah. And I'm happy to have those discussions or, provide that data. Again, if we want to kind of start meeting in January and talking about some of those things, I'm happy to share that.
Okay, yeah, I can send you, I've started like pulling them to a separate like tab of my spreadsheet, so when I'm done with the whole list, I can send you that list so that you at least know who it is and what their job and their location is. That are all receiving one of those. So then you have a listing.
Say that again,
So
sorry.
I'm pulling all the ones that are receiving a special responsibility assignment to a separate tab on my spreadsheet.
Okay,
So I can send you, and it has their job title and then their location, like their building. So I can just send you that listing when I'm just not all the way done with the list yet.
okay.
But when I do get it done, I can send it to you.
Mr. Dick shared that the season was from November 16th to January 30th. So that would be,
Winter sports.
yeah,
And we had, currently, the plan was to have it as a club, but because Keisha was in the middle of conversations, we actually did not have it as a club this year.
Oh,
I
okay, so
correct
we don't
that.
have rough
So
numbers.
we did not have any participants as a club.
I guess it's gonna be pretty big though this year, yeah, okay, thank you.
And then I assume that if they need more than one assistant, they just continue to add the assistant.
When Dustin sets those rates, yes, cause like he'll look at a roster and he'll decide and he'll be like, yes, you can have another
Okay.
assistant.
also. Sorry, we're getting clarification on,
So the conversation about having it as a club stopped when we started having conversations with it being Keisha and bringing an addendum for it as a coach and assistant coach. So those conversations, they kind of stopped as a club.
and did you get your question answered? Brenda?
Yes, I was just curious if, once they max out their students, do they get another assistant? Yes, he's done it in front of me.
So yes.
What time of year would flag football fall with Keisha, do you know? And if you don't, it's okay, I can do the work too, I just.
I don't want him to speak again, so let me clarify.
Sure, like I said, I could do the research too.
I think it's in the fall.
Do you? At the same time as.
I think so.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you for that. So unless you have something else you want to share, I think we would like to spend the rest of the day for us in caucus discussing. I think I have 4 or 5, so that we can have some answers and counters, whatever, in the morning at 9.
And I did share with Brenda last night that we do have a noon board meeting tomorrow, so we'll need to have lunch around that.
Do you foresee being able to come back in the afternoon?
Yes.
It does look like the girls' flag football is gonna be a fall sport.
It's also sanctioned for middle school and high school.
I had heard it was middle school, but I wasn't gonna say anything yet.
I think it's gonna be field space.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
especially at a middle school.
yeah.
And hard for, I mean,
Yeah,
it sounds great in theory.
many such cases.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
See you at 9 tomorrow.
Yep, we'll see you then.